To the average passive income enthusiast, scrolling through social media financial advice, a self-service laundromat looks like the holy grail of micro-entrepreneurship. You buy a plain concrete building, bolt 30 commercial washing machines, and 20 gas dryers to the floor, install a coin changer on the back wall, and simply stop by twice a week with a canvas duffel bag to collect buckets of quarter coins. There are no retail employees to manage, no complex physical inventory to rot on shelves, and no credit card default risk when payment is collected upfront in hard currency. With online influencers hailing it as an automated, recession-proof cash cow that practically prints 90% profit margins while you sleep, it appears to be the ultimate hands-off business. But if you step past the coin hoppers and look at the general ledger behind closed doors, you discover a brutal, counterintuitive operational reality. A laundromat is not a passive cash machine. It is a capital-intensive, high fixed cost utility arbitrage engine that monetizes water, gas, electricity, and real estate micro-leases by the 30-minute cycle. You are essentially taking on massive long-term commercial debt and heavy utility liabilities to sell microdoses of hot water and hot air to low-income populations, operating under relentless mechanical degradation and relentless fixed real estate overhead. To understand how a coin laundry operates or fails, you have to map out the 4 distinct tiers within the laundromat retail spectrum, each defined by a fundamental trade-off between labor overhead and capital expenditure intensity. At the foundational tier sits the legacy unstaffed self-service coin op. These are small 800 to 1,500 square foot neighborhood facilities, packed with 20-year-old top-load washers. They operate on minimal labor overhead, but suffer from low throughput, frequent machine downtime, and high vulnerability to vandalism and coinbox theft. Step up 1 tier and you find the modernized hybrid laundromat. Ranging from 2,000 to 5,000 square feet, these facilities feature high efficiency, large capacity mega washers, up to 80-pound load limits, alongside card swipe or smartphone app payment ecosystems. They maintain a part-time attendant for sanitation and customer service, trading slightly higher labor costs for faster inventory turnover and higher average basket sizes from busy suburban families. The third tier consists of full-service wash-dry fold and commercial pickup and delivery operations. Here, the business pivots from self-service utility rental to a labor-heavy service model by utilizing fluff and fold attendant labor to process residential wash-fold orders and local commercial accounts like spas, gyms, and Airbnb hosts. These facilities generate significantly higher revenue per square foot, but sacrifice the pure hands-off labor structure of traditional coin ops. Finally, at the top tier, you have the hybrid retail entertainment laundromat, the laundro bar or cafe setup, operating out of premium urban real estate. These venues combine laundry facilities with craft beer, coffee shops, arcade machines, or co-working lounge space. While this model drives high dwell time and monetizes waiting customers with 80% gross margin concessions, it introduces extreme operational complexity, regulatory food service licensing friction, and significantly higher lease overhead. Regardless of which operational tier you choose, the trap begins long before the first quarter drops into a coin chute. It is called the empty box trap. Opening a physical laundromat from scratch, or executing a total facility overhaul, is wildly more capital intensive than standard retail because of specialized utility infrastructure requirements. You cannot simply lease a former shoe store or clothing boutique, roll in some washing machines, and plug them into standard wall outlets. Building out a high-capacity commercial laundromat requires massive utility mainline infrastructure that can cost more than the washing machines themselves. A standard commercial building has a 3/4 inch or 1 inch water line. A mid-sized laundromat processing hundreds of gallons of water per minute requires a dedicated 2-inch or 3-inch municipal water main, which can cost $50,000 to $120,000 just in municipal tap-in impact fees before breaking ground. Furthermore, commercial gas dryers require high BTU gas lines capable of supplying millions of British thermal units per hour, along with heavy 6-inch or 8-inch exhaust ducting, routed straight through the roof. Add in specialized 3-phase 240-volt electrical panels, high-efficiency commercial boiler hot water storage systems, concrete foundation trenching for high-volume drainage gutters, and non-porous antimicrobial floor coatings, and your build-out infrastructure costs quickly balloon to $200 to $350 per square foot. For a modest 3,000 square foot footprint, you are looking at $300,000 to $500,000 in leasehold site improvements before purchasing a single piece of laundry equipment. Then comes the massive equipment CapEx sinkhole. Commercial-grade washing machines and stacked gas dryers are not household appliances. They are heavy industrial assets engineered for thousands of cycles. A single 60-pound washer extractor costs anywhere from $12,000 to $18,000. A bank of stacked 40-pound gas dryers costs $10,000 to $15,000 per dual unit. Outfitting a mid-sized store with 30 washers and 24 dryer pockets requires an upfront equipment investment of $350,000 to $600,000, because few operators have $600,000 in liquid cash sitting around. For machinery, they rely heavily on specialized equipment financing or lease agreements through manufacturers like Dexter or Alliance Laundry Systems. These loans carry 7 to 11% interest rates, amortized over 7 to 10 years. Long before you collect your first dollar in profit, you have locked in a non-negotiable monthly debt service payment of $4,000 to $7,000 per month that must be paid whether customers show up or not. This heavy debt burden makes location selection and lease negotiation an existential matter. A laundromat relies on a tight hyperlocal catchment area, typically a 1 to 2 mile radius or a 7-minute drive time. The core target demographic consists of renter-occupied households, multifamily apartment complexes lacking in-unit laundry hookups, and low to moderate income households. Choosing a location on the wrong side of a major physical divider, like a highway or river, cuts your effective catchment area in half and guarantees slow customer volume. Furthermore, lease terms can quietly destroy a laundromat's valuation because laundry machinery is bolted to the floor and costs tens of thousands of dollars to unmount, transport, and reinstall. A laundromat cannot simply relocate when a lease expires. If an operator signs a standard 5-year lease with no renewal options, the landlord holds all the leverage at year 5. The landlord can demand exorbitant rent increases, knowing the operator cannot move the business, without incurring $250,000 in relocation costs. Successful operators must secure long-term 15 to 25-year lease agreements with fixed escalation clauses to ensure the store outlives its equipment loan amortization schedule. Now let's examine the core economic engine and the unit economics of a single wash cycle. On the surface, charging $7.50 for a 5-load washer run sounds like pure income, but every single cycle represents a direct utility expenditure. Water and sewer fees represent the largest variable line item. A high-efficiency 60-pound washer uses roughly 30 to 40 gallons of water per cycle. Depending on municipal water and sewer rates, which have surged in recent years, water and drainage costs can devour 12 to 20% of top-line cycle revenue. Next comes the energy cost. To run the hot water heater and the gas dryers, natural gas or propane required to elevate cold municipal water to 120 degrees, combined with the continuous gas burn of commercial dryers operating at 160 degrees, accounts for another 10 to 15% of gross revenue. Electricity to turn heavy drum motors and run baseline facility lighting and climate control takes another 6 to 8%. Combined, utility costs eat up 30 to 40% of every dollar collected at the machine. Subtract another 10 to 15% for credit card processing fees on app-based machines or cash collection overhead, and your direct variable gross margin per cycle lands between 45 and 55%, far lower than the 90% net margins touted in viral social media videos. To protect these margins, successful laundromat operators rely on subtle behavioral psychology, environmental design, and pricing mechanics inside the store. Walk into a modern high-performing facility, and you will notice that pricing is structured on asymmetric step-ups. A 20-pound washer might cost $4, while a 60-pound mega washer costs $9. Even though the 60-pound machine costs more than double, customers perceive it as a superior value for large family loads or bulky comforters. In reality, the 60-pound machine uses significantly less water and energy per pound of laundry than 3 smaller machines combined, yielding a higher net margin for the operator. Furthermore, modern digital payment systems allow operators to execute dynamic time-of-day pricing. During slow Tuesday morning hours, machine prices drop by 20% to entice price-sensitive customers and smooth out weekly demand spikes. On peak Saturday and Sunday mornings, prices automatically increase by 10 to 15%, maximizing revenue when demand saturates available floor capacity. Underneath these operational mechanics lies a hidden web of recurring expenses and technical liabilities that quietly drain profitability. Consider mechanical degradation and maintenance labor. Commercial washers operate under violent centrifugal forces during spin cycles, generating up to 300 Gs of force to extract water. Bearings wear out, water inlet valves clog with sediment, drain valves leak, and coin acceptors jam with lint and debris. If an operator lacks mechanical aptitude and relies on third-party service technicians for every minor repair, service calls cost $150 to $250 per hour. Just for travel time and diagnostics, plus parts. A single out-of-order machine sitting idle not only stops generating revenue, but also lowers total store capacity during weekend rush hours. Successful operators must serve as their own plumber, electrician, and mechanic, spending hours every week greasing bearings, clearing lint traps, and rebuilding drain valves. Then consider the silent killer of laundromat balance sheets, municipal sewer surcharges, property taxes, and triple net lease pass-throughs. Many municipalities assess heavy annual impact fees or commercial sewer charges based on peak water volume usage. Add in rising property tax assessments passed directly to the tenant through triple net lease structures, commercial liability insurance to cover slip and fall claims on wet tile floors, and security systems to combat vandalism. And your fixed operational baseline rises relentlessly every year. To see how fragile these mechanics can be, let's run a dual scenario financial model for a standard 3,000 square foot independent laundromat generating $240,000 in annual gross revenue. In an optimistic scenario, the store operates in a dense rental market with high demand. Equipment debt service sits at $3,500 per month. Utilities are tightly controlled at 30% of gross revenue. The owner performs all routine mechanical maintenance, keeping repairs below $500 a month. Under these ideal conditions, out of $20,000 in monthly top-line revenue, utility costs devour $6,000. Rent and triple net fees take $4,500. Equipment debt service claims $3,500. Insurance, software fees, janitorial supplies, and credit card processing fees take $1,500. This leaves a healthy net operating income of $4,500 per month, or $54,000 a year, in passive owner distribution on a stabilized asset. Now let's examine the realistic scenario, where minor compounding frictions hit simultaneously. A municipal utility rate hike pushes utility costs from 30% up to 38% of gross revenue. The landlord passes through a property tax increase, driving monthly rent up by $700. Two major 60-pound washers suffer bearing failures, forcing the non-mechanical owner to pay $3,000 in professional repair fees. Meanwhile, an inflation-driven lull in local consumer spending causes monthly machine turns to drop by 10%. Under this scenario, top-line monthly revenue drops to $18,000. Utility expenses, even with lower volume, absorb $6,840 due to higher utility unit rates. Rent and triple net fees take $5,200. Debt service remains fixed at $3,500. Insurance, maintenance, and processing fees take $2,300. Total monthly operating expenses swell to $17,840, collapsing monthly net operating profit to a microscopic $160 for the entire month. The owner carries nearly $500,000 in equipment debt risk, deals with clogged drain lines and late-night security calls, only to earn less than $2,000 for an entire year of operations. A modest 8% jump in utility rates, combined with a 10% dip in foot traffic, completely wiped out 96% of the store's net profit. What this economic reality reveals is the ultimate truth of self-service laundry operations. A successful laundromat is never a passive, set-it-and-forget-it cash generator. Survival in this business is dictated by cold, rigorous operational control, disciplined utility management, proactive mechanical self-maintenance, long-term real estate lease protection, and relentless optimization of revenue per square foot. In the laundromat business, profit is not made by simply collecting quarters. It is made by ensuring that every single gallon of water and cubic foot of gas is monetized to its absolute physical limit.